Alright, welcome back everybody. Hope you're doing well. So we're in the Netherlands, summer is definitely over. Like past few days the weather was just horrible, raining all day, getting cold as well. So yesterday I went outside to feed the guppies in the mini pond. So I put a little bit of flake food on the surface and nothing happened. I was like, oh crap, maybe I'm a bit too late already, maybe they're all dead. So I quickly moved some floating ponds around, put a flashlight in the water, and then I saw that they were still there. They were still alive, but they were definitely cold, I think. They were not really moving much. So I quickly called my girlfriend and we picked the pond up and put it inside. And today we're going to take it down. So it's been sitting in this corner since yesterday. And it actually looks pretty cool, right? I mean, for a second we were thinking to just keep it like this. I mean, why not have a little mini indoor pond? But then we remembered that we have 2 cats and they will for sure destroy this whole thing. They were gonna be chewing on all the plants and just not a really good idea. I'm not sure if all the plants are completely safe for cats as well. They might be a little bit poisonous. So I think it's best if we just take it down. Before we do that, let's just do a little recap of how this mini pond was built. So the first step was to clean up the balcony itself. We moved into this apartment a few years ago, but we hadn't really done any work to the balcony. And the state of it was not great to say the least. So I cleaned it up nicely, and I also ordered a few rolls of split bamboo just to make the fence look a little bit more presentable. After that I went to my local garden center to look for a pond, and I found this really nice thick plastic top that kind of looks like a wine barrel. So I picked it up and also chose a few pond plants, and with that we were just ready to get started. Everything else for this project was basically just done with leftover materials. So I started with a thin layer of aquasoil to provide some nutrients, and I covered that with some decorative gravel. After that I made a simple planter with this square basket. So I first added a thin layer of filter floss to prevent any soil from leaking out of the basket, and then I removed all the potting soil from the pond plants and placed them in the basket. Then filled in the gaps with more aquasoil and topped the whole thing with more gravel. Now to make sure the planter would sit at the water level, I made a little structure with a few pieces of driftwood. Now in my opinion a pond is not complete without a lily, so I added a very small type of lily for this mini pond. A few days later it was ready for fish, so I added a small group of tiger antler guppies as well as a few shrimp. Yeah, just a bit more light and space to work with over here. Okay, so how are we going to do this? I think we first have to remove all the plants, see what we want to keep, see what we have to throw away. For example, this big plant in the center, I want to use again. I already have a little bit of it in the big shallow, so I'm just going to add it to there. Preferably I would also like to keep the lily. I'm not sure if we can place it somewhere in one of my tanks. I think the other plants, maybe this would be cool in the shallow as well. Just a little bit of it. It's a pretty nice looking plant. And everything else we're just gonna get rid of. And then remove all the plants, drain the water as much as possible, catch all the fish, catch all the shrimp if we still have shrimp. I haven't seen shrimp in a while. Yeah, we catch all of that, place it somewhere in some of my tanks and clean the whole thing, and that's it. Should be easy enough. Okay, let's start by removing some of these floating plants because literally the whole surface is covered with it. Can definitely use these floating plants as well. Some beautiful redwood floaters here, lots of salvinia as well. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but yeah, I see a lot of things moving around. So we still have a lot of guppies in there. I'm seeing some shrimp as well, so yeah, so far it's looking good. Let's continue, let's remove the lily. Pretty sure it has grown a lot of roots in these past few months. It's completely stuck in the substrate, I can't even lift it out. I think I'm gonna have to cut the roots or something. Alright, that's our lily removed. Beautiful, beautiful plant. Unfortunately it never gave me a flower in those past few months, but yeah, still a beautiful plant. Definitely like to keep it, maybe in the big shallow as well, but I only have a thin layer of sand, so it's hard to plant it anywhere, so I don't know, let's just keep going and we'll figure out later what we do with this. Let's just keep it in here anyway so it doesn't dry out. So I think the next step would be to remove this entire planter out of here. I think we first have to trim some of these plants off. Because this is going to be fun, I'm going to lift out the entire plant basket. See if we can manage. It's proper heavy as well. Oh. Remember when I made that wood structure? Yeah, there's literally half of it hanging underneath it. Okay, fish are definitely in shock right now. We do have a casualty. There's a dead female guppy over there. Could have been just old age as well. I mean, some of these guppies I've had for a long time already. Let's continue removing all the floating plants. Then we'll drain all the water. Then we can start catching fish. Right, so now we can get a better look at what we actually have in here. So yeah, there's a load of guppies in here. And there's a lot of shrimp in there as well. Lots of guppy babies. So I'm gonna try and catch everything and separate them as well, because I want the shrimp to go in the big shallow. I'm thinking some of the guppy babies to go in some of these nano tanks. And probably the adults I will either sell or bring to my local fish shop. Right, that is the end of the mini pond, guys. Everything is caught. We have the shrimp here, we have the adult guppies, and we have some baby guppies as well. So shrimp can go in here. Start acclimating these guys here. The adult guppies will go in the 70 liter scapers tank until I figure out what I want to do with them. And then the baby guppies will go in this tank. I just want to see if I can somehow save this plant and remove it from this basket. I might have to cut the basket apart, I don't know. I guess we just have to use some brute force. Took some brute force, but we got it. I'm going to remove this yellow leaf. Yeah, nice. Happy we managed to save that plant. Instantly a bit more volume in that corner. Shrimp can be released as well, they're acclimated. Now this is not food, guys, so do not eat them. I spent a little bit more time acclimating these guys because we have a lot of CO2 in this aquarium, so I've just been every few minutes just adding a little bit of water into the cup. Been doing this for like half an hour or so. And they still might struggle a little bit with the CO2 levels, but they should be fine now. Here we go. It's actually a beautiful type of guppy, these antlers. Of course they're a little bit stressed now, so they're not as colorful, but especially the males just get super yellow. Yeah, really beautiful. I've also cleaned off most of the clay from the lily. Also removed a lot of the longer leaves. I want to try and plant it in the 70 liter scapers tank. We have a lot of highlight there, we have a lot of CO2, a lot of fertilizer, so I'm sure we'll do well in there. I just don't want to have to buy a new one next year, you know?